I'm going to start off where I left off, and that is to say you never want to build geometry from projected curves, and I'm going to show you why. Okay, I'm going to select this curve right here, and I'm going to hit F10 so that you can see the points. Now look at all of that. Look at all of those points. Look at all of those points. That's really nasty. Okay, and that's a result of the projection process. Anytime you use a projection function within Rhino, what Rhino does is it generates as many points as it needs to in order to create the projected surface. Okay, and so what you need to do when you do that is that you need to go back in and rebuild these surfaces. Okay, and the way that you do that is to type in rebuild, and you click on the curve that you want to use, and you notice that we had 414 points and it's a third degree curve. I'm going to change that to 40. And what I want to do is look at the surface deviation here, and if I can move that surface deviation into the hundredths column, that's pretty good. And also take a look and see how much they deviate, okay? And I'm going to click on OK. Now look at that. Same curve. Follows the form pretty closely, but there are a lot fewer curves there. And so what I want to do is go through here, click that curve, and I want to do a rebuild again. And that has 600, so we used a factor of 10. I'm going to change that one to 60. Okay, and I'm going to preview it, preview. And we look at the surface deviation there. It's not 60, is not getting us where we need to be, so let's change that to 100 because that has a lot of curvature, and now we're there. I'm going to drop that down to 80. Okay, and that's pretty good. That gets me in there, and I look at this, and it's pretty close. The deviation's pretty close. Okay, and so I can click on OK. There, and I'm going to hit F10 so that you can see the result. I'm going to come over here and hit F10 so that you can see that, and I'm going to do a rebuild, and I'm going to click on that one, and that has 200. I'm going to change that to 30, and that deviation's good. Okay, and I'm going to go over here, hit F10, so I'm going to go, as you can see, I'm sort of repeating myself here. And I like to refer to processes like this as digital filing. In any artistic, sculptural approach, sculptural process, artistic process, there's always some filing that you have to do in order to make things right, in order to build things properly. And I knocked that back to 40, and that's okay. And I'm going to hit F10 here, so we can see that, and I'm going to go in and do a rebuild. I'm getting my commands from there, and I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to make that 30. Okay, and that's okay. And then finally, I'm going to come here, I'm just going to rebuild that, and I'm going to knock that back to 30 since we've seen that already. But if I hit F10, you'll note that. Now my curves are parameterized nicely, and they're looking really good, okay? So now what I want to do is that I want to turn my surface off. Okay, I'm going to turn my surface off. The head, the underlying head up, and I'm going to hit F11 to turn these off. And what I want to do is that I want to define my patches, and I want to create quads, and I want to create areas of intersection. And these areas of intersections like this and like that, I call this an area of intersection. I want to create an area that I'm going to apply a patch to. And then I want to just create these straight areas that I can use any number of techniques to do that. And the way that I would do that is I'm going to turn on my in snap and my near snap, and I'm going to get my Polyline Tool, and I'm just going to draw a line right here where each one of these comes out of the curve and goes straight, like that, okay? And I'm going to come over here and go straight, okay? And this is kind of a funky area here. I'm going to come over here and go straight there. Okay, go here and go straight like that. Okay, and here, go straight. Here, go straight. I want to make sure that I snatch that area that's outside of the curve. Like that. So I don't capture any of the curve in there, that transition area. And you'll see why that's important a little later. And what that's going to do as I'm doing this, I can tell you why I'm doing this, is that I'm going to use a combination of, in my areas of transition, or where I have areas of curvature, I'm going to use my patch tool to generate the surface. And in the other areas, I'm just going to go in with a curve from, or surface from 3 or 4 more areas, or I'm going to do a sweep 2. Okay? And so here, going to go there, come down here, go across there. And this is digital filing, and this is what makes your models look great. So you should take great pride in this work, because this is the work that a lot of people don't want to do in order to create beautiful models. Okay, and so now what I could do is that I want to do a split. Okay, and what I want to do, I want to split all of my main curves that I created right here, all of these curves right here, and I should have put them on a different layer. Okay, and I want my cutting objects, I want to use all of these areas that I created here, and you'll see why this is going to be really cool once we do this. And if I put it on different layers, I could have automated a lot of this, so it's my bad. And I'm going to go in here like that, and I'm going to get all of those. And you note that that's going to split up my curves, and what that does is that splits it up into segments along these edges. And so now this is ready, and I can bring this back so that you can see it. I want to lock this down, but I'm going to bring this back and so you can see how that lies on that. And what I'm going to do in the next part of the video, I'm going to get into the actual generation of the surface patches. And this is a good place to pause and take a break before we move forward with this model. But everything seems to be coming along just fine.